Activation code required. Access granted. Warning. Evacuation sequence activated.
We're back. Welcome to the bunker.
And good evening. Hey, you're listening to the S4 Bunker up here in Concrete, Washington State. You know, I always used to put WA, and well, it's not Western Australia, it's Washington State. And I know Robert will get that because he's in Australia. But anyway, yeah, don't mind me. I'm tired of humans after Christmas shopping all damn day. So how we doing, folks?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
This is when you all talk.
Doing good.
Yeah, it's like don't everybody speak at once, eh?
Right? Hey, yeah, it was a moment of silence.
No kidding.
So, yeah, no. Oh, so this week is Christmas Roundtable. Next week we're doing New Year's Roundtable.
Excellent.
It is.
Happy birthday.
Hey, Nick.
Well, that was interesting.
It
Hey, Katie.
Well, I will be upfront with you on this one. There is not a snowball's prayer that I will be in the round table on New Year's Eve.
No. Next Wednesday.
It'll be Wednesday.
Oh, that one I can do.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about the new year, what people we didn't get to hurt this year, what people we want to hurt in the new year. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Good God.
Hey, everybody has to have goals, okay?
Who you got? No, I better not say that on the air.
Yeah, probably not. Like, I
Probably
know you're
not. Although with that in mind, there is a Christmas song you also probably shouldn't put on the air, but
Well, apparently now there's quite a few of them.
What's
you know this one starts off with ho ho effing ho.
oh?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
You guys haven't heard that one?
No.
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 Nope.
I will send you the link, and I'll go and find it and send you the link for it, but you really don't want to put it on the air. I mean, it can go on the air. It's on the air everywhere else.
Friend,
So I want to go around real quick. How much snow does everybody have?
Give me a sec. I got to look out the window. You got how many?
About 4 inches.
We got like at least a foot and a half.
Yeah. Okay. You're about in line with us.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's right about there.
Darrington, I wouldn't. I'm not surprised. You're about in line with concrete. Joe, how's your snow looking?
Don't have any right now.
Seriously? You can come get
It
some
melted.
of ours.
It's
Wow.
cold as hell, but
See, our stone's good. It's colored white.
is there any fire still, Joe?
That's about how Seattle is.
no, there's no fires up here right now.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Just throw some snow on it. Oh, yeah.
Well, they've had a couple of pretty good fires happen, and when there's snow everywhere, you wouldn't think it, but
And it's probably about 120 degrees where Robert's at. And because it's summertime for Australia.
Which means instead of Santa Claus and the reindeer, he's got 6 white boomers.
Mm-hmm. And poisonous spiders and everything else.
Koalas bursting into flames.
Uh-huh. He's got
Jellyfish with mistletoe.
Well, that could be anything, but I'm thinking a little rude.
I'm wondering if they sting each other.
What?
The jellyfish.
Jellyfish?
Yeah, he said jellyfish with mistletoe.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's
good God.
terrible.
81. Okay. I was close. That was only 40.
Here you go, guys. Here's one for you. I dropped it into the Skype chat.
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna play that right now. Not over live, so. But
Happy Yule. Happy Yule. It is Yule today.
it is. For the shortest day of the year, we had 5.5 hours of sunshine,
Mm-hmm.
and then plunged back into darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Friend.
And more snow.
Yay.
And more
What
snow coming.
sunshine?
Yeah, actually, I was on the phone with my dad yesterday, and suddenly it just got bright in the house, and I'm like, something happened. He's like, what? I said, I don't know, but it got really bright out here. He said, the clouds probably parted. I said, what does that mean?
Good start.
Oh. So
Yeah.
I have a question.
It's kind of what the round table is. Right?
Who, so, the Star of Bethlehem. Do you think that was a planet, spaceship? What's your thoughts? What do you think the Star of Bethlehem was? The North
As
Star?
near as I can piece together, it's a stellar overlay, as in one star right behind the other, but close enough in alignment to make it look like one.
That depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
Well, they were in the Far East, so we'll start there.
I would tend to agree with that, Keith.
Mm-hmm. Robert thinks it was an alien vessel.
Yeah, I was watching some Ancient Aliens earlier, so I'll go with the alien vessel.
Oh, good God. Everything's an alien and fucking that.
Well, it's a good thing you weren't watching Bugs Bunny then.
And there you go. It was aliens looking for oil. Oh, God.
Nice.
Well, you know what? Back then it might have been.
Maybe it
Back,
was a time
Who's got the
traveler.
background?
back then they might have needed oil to power their craft. Now they just need geothermal energy from volcanoes. Yeah.
Harmony, are
Yeah,
you
what's
Well, I
up
would
with
assume
that,
Keith
Keith?
would know more about that as to what they need, because I can't describe it.
What, for energy?
Yeah.
Yeah, for energy. For an
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
spaceship.
they keep showing all the videos of them dipping into volcanoes and stuff, and they get gases or sulfur, or just cleaning the windows
Or
or
the
something.
sun.
Or
Yeah.
You see them where they're
manifestation
dealing with the
of,
sun.
of like the higher self of Jesus or of the one of the magi, that's some kind of higher manifestation guy that was pulling itself and shape-shifting into a star.
Excuse me. Reading the comments.
Is it just me, or are we getting a lot of feedback?
I think Harmony's on the road right now.
Yeah.
No, it's
Oh,
air.
that's fine. Okay.
Harmony's in her car.
That's okay. We can work with it. Just whatever you do, Harmony, when you get home, don't drive into the living room.
It makes it easier to get to the kitchen.
Well, yeah, the coffee's probably.
I'm not driving. My husband's driving, so no worries there.
Well, you know, it kind of
nobody
works
worries
out.
if he drives into the living room.
It works out because it's a winter show. It's right before Christmas, and every time she talks, it sounds like there's a blizzard. You know?
Well,
Sounds like a complete
That's about
whiteout,
right for right now in the United States.
broadcasting from the Antarctic or something.
right?
You know, even being from Alberta, I'm pretty tired of blizzards by now. I'm over it. And, I did the white powder thing in my 20s.
I think
and
a lot of
now
people-
I'm done with white powder now.
We need a snowmobile.
Jesus.
See, I was done with white powder when I was about 10.
I think we're talking about a different white
Does
powder.
anybody?
Oh wait.
Oh,
wait,
that
which
I was
one?
that I
Yeah.
gave up on when I was in my mid-20s.
Cocaine.
Yeah, saying you were done with that by the time you were 10, Keith. Damn. Hard life.
You still have a nose.
What a bunch of quitters.
I'm okay with that.
Jesus.
Oh, all right. So who wants to go first? Joe, let's go with your first question.
Oh, God, I can't bring up the page I had my questions on. Let me see. Okay, you wake up one morning and you realize you're a ghost. What's the first thing you do?
Oh, my
They all
first
fuck.
thought right off the bat is, oh, sheep, not again.
I try to walk through walls.
Yeah, I like that. You got to test your abilities. See what you can do. See if people can hear you. See if you can knock
Right.
shit over like a cat, you know? See if you're bound to a house or a property. Go out and run around the neighborhood.
Well, it probably
Well,
takes
nice
a while
part
to
there,
realize
once you do it often enough, it just gets redundant. Kind of like changing shoes.
Robert, hunt the shit out of the female showers.
Uh-huh.
You see,
Well, for the first hour or so,
now I might go haunt a few issues.
for the first hour or so, I'd probably be slapping the shit out of people because they're ignoring me, and then I'll realize I'm a ghost. But
Yeah, and then you figure out you can actually do it.
yeah.
Yep.
I would actually, being serious, I would honestly check on my kids.
Yeah.
Friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Honestly, being serious, I would make a beeline for hell and go and see some of the people that got there before I did.
They warm up.
Now I'd go check on my
Check out to see if
Human
it's as
kid and
bad
my-
as they say.
Oh, I already know it's not. That's the funny part. It's actually
Yeah.
a laugh down
It's
there,
very
but
different than what
only if
people-
you know what you're up to.
very different than what people think it is.
Oh, heavens, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
funny watching them try and figure it out.
What about you, Joe?
Oh, like I said, I just check out my abilities. See what you can do. See what you can't do. See if people can hear you. Screw with some light bulbs.
Don't lie. You try and pick up a pointy stick. That'd be the first.
Oh, I'm sure it came with me. Be a ghost with a pointy stick.
They call that Grim Reaper, don't they? Well, no, it's kind of a.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The pointy scythe.
Who has? What would you do, Rick?
Oh, yes. Well, one, I'd immediately check in with any other ghosts nearby and see about the any afterlife support groups and, see what the ground rules were, what we couldn't do. Would it be
Yeah.
okay if we just, yeah.
It's like first day on a new job.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think I'm good on that one.
Huh?
And honestly, most people in the world suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have a select few of you guys that I actually enjoy being around and talking to. And I know if I die, you're not dead, so, unless you're in the vehicle with me. But,
Or in the vehicle under you.
I finally got away from them. Why would I go talk to them now? They're just because, they were an asshole in life, they're probably going to be an asshole in death.
Yep.
Friend.
Yep.
Friend.
Some of them are.
Right? So.
Go find me a female ghost.
Yeah, but then you realize
Hey,
you're
when I
going to
had
end
a
up having boobies.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that there are certain assholes as ghosts because of dealing with Capone. when he showed up to yammer at me 2 years ago, he was a hardcore asshole. Attitude up the wazoo about women, and I mean, he was nasty. I gave him what for? I was like, no, he was a real piece of. Anyway, so yeah, there are people that are not so great in human form, and they become that even stronger in spirit form.
Yeah, but they are fun to take off.
Oh yes, very much so. He and I had quite the tete-a-tete. We went mano a mano. Let's just put it that way.
That
I
might
finally
be
got the
difficult for
point
you.
across if you ever wanted. Well, yeah, I kind of went into a higher self, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I got the point across. You don't talk to me like that, and I don't give a crap who he was. So,
See, I was
Didn't he die
itself
of,
out.
didn't Capone die of syphilis?
He did.
Yeah, amongst other things. Yeah.
See, I was quite happy with the whole concept when Mephistopheles showed up. He was not happy with me in the slightest. Because he showed up in my house and he looks at me and he goes, I am Mephistopheles, you will fear me. I looked at him and I said, after lunch.
Yeah, that's kind of, that was kind of my point.
Oh, you killed me in the chat room.
Like you in what army? Yeah, so, certain ones just have a tendency. Oh, for God's sake. Is that you, Cole?
What?
On that?
That's
Oh, my
Paul.
God. Jesus.
I like it when they fly.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
You like it when they fly. Oh, my God. If you're not in chat, you need to be. Oh, my God. Jeez. Oh,
So-
mercy.
Nikki, what's your first question?
I'm hunting for my first question. I had written it down and I don't remember it. I screenshotted it and I'm going through all the dang screenshots right now going, where the heck are you? You're in here somewhere. I couldn't tell you what my question is right now.
I can tell you what our first question is. Where's my first question?
Like this whole week, I found 5 really good questions.
You can't find
And
them.
that's why I told all of you, like, write it down, because, I don't have any of them now.
Oh.
Your questions are kind of
Okay,
like...
I have a question.
Rick, go ahead.
I'll jump in. Okay. If you could design your own ugly Christmas sweater, what would it look like?
Cole.
If you could.
Your own Christmas sweater?
If you could design your own
It would
ugly
definitely
Christmas
have
sweater,
Bigfoot
where
on
you
it.
Yours would have Bigfoot?
Mine would have Bigfoot. Mine would have Bigfoot.
yeah, Bigfoot with.
Mine would have Bigfoot standing next to a Christmas tree.
You know, I agree with Eric. I would
Yeah.
have Bigfoots. I would cut off the foot of every NBA player and hang it off the sweater.
Have Ready Amanita mushrooms hanging on the tree. Bigfoot fan.
Then it might be also a Halloween sweater.
I saw one of the coolest sweaters online. It was actually the Neverending Story, all in a sweater form, and it was amazing. And I would totally rock that as a Christmas sweater. I don't know if I'd really want to design one of my own because then I'd be tempted to wear it too often.
I need someone to educate me a little bit. How is Neverending Story a Christmas movie?
Or an ugly sweater.
It was amazing. It had Bastion reading the book, like eating the apple. It had the rock fighter up in the corner. It had a little scene of like Artax and Atreyu going through the Swamp of Sorrows, and had all these different scenes on it. There was actually 2 different ones because I sent it to a friend of mine, a picture. I was like, oh, we could totally rock these. And then she sent me one that she had seen that was like a little bit different. It had the Tower of Fantasia, and then the 2 people with the eyes, There the statues with the eyes. It was really awesome.
I got told this week that that's a Christmas movie. Does anyone else know that to be true?
Yeah, that's not a. No, totally disagree. Totally disagree.
I have to go back.
As I consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, I can't really say anything about what anybody else considers a Christmas movie. So, Die Hard takes place at Christmas. It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
So,
I can't call it that
yeah.
anymore because legitimately Bruce Willis said it wasn't, so I can't disagree with the man.
We're a
I disagree
Ghostbusters
with
Bruce Willis
sweatshirt.
is the one that produced and directed the movie or wrote it. So he was just an actor and
I was
a TV actor.
I was yeah. I was just thinking for an ugly Christmas sweater. On the back, you'd have a pistol with a big couple pieces of duct tape right between your shoulder blades, and on the front it'd say "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker."
And on the front,
Christmas sweater.
but on the front it'll say "You'll shoot your eye out."
Oh no, wait! But there is a line from the movie. It's he wrote it on his sweater. It's ho ho ho! Now I have a machine gun.
Machine gun.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Look at my
that's a Christmas sweater.
AR-15. Yeah.
Actually, I think I've seen that as a Christmas sweater. I don't think you're far off. I think that exists.
Wow.
I swear I've seen that somewhere. It might have been on television. It could have been part of a TV show, so it might have not been for sale. But
Mandela
Yeah.
effect.
I found the question.
Okay.
How concerned is anyone in the panel about the power grid in the United States and Canada?
On a scale of
I'm pretty concerned.
Very
I mean, I'm
good.
living right here in California, and it's supposed to be the 7th largest economy in the world, and our power goes out all the time. And that's
Yep.
not counting. That's not counting things that have been happening lately, like people hitting power stations with one or two very well placed shots from a long distance.
Yep.
And what was it? The one last week took out all of North Carolina. It was 3 shots into a power station.
Yeah.
Now that happened a couple years ago, just out of San Francisco. They did the same thing. So somebody's testing it. And then again, we got the coronal mass ejections. Some kind of Carrington event thing. The worst part is nobody makes the big generators. They're not sitting around in a storeroom or capacitors or whatever it is. There's not a surplus of them.
the thing I find
Oh,
fascinating.
if they all
about
get
the
fried,
process-
it'll be decades.
Well, the
I
thing-
find it
Say what you want
fascinating that
The-
with all
so-
the power problems that are already being had, that people are pushing for electric cars. It's not like the electric grid hasn't been strapped to its limit already.
Exactly.
So two things can happen though. If it's done by a corona mass ejection, that's the same thing as an EMP basically. So your electric cars are going to be
Yep.
shit. Your generators are going to be shit. Pretty well. Hey, name's Pliskin. Got a smoke? Got a light? Yeah, you're back in the dark ages for a good while.
Oh, we'll be
Yes.
back way beyond the Dark Ages. Because 90% of what we actually have for knowledge right now is on computer.
Mm-hmm.
The hard copy stuff, a lot of it's been destroyed, which puts us back the last 70 years of progress gets wiped
Woohoo,
out.
I'm out of debt.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, I got a free $35,000 car. Yeah, no.
Yeah, a free $35,000 car that you can't run
Yep.
unless you got a couple of horses.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
have
think it's
family-
definitely concerning for the power grid and for, everyone. Really depends on power, like you said, for finances and everything. But I think the main key is to, look back on ways that we can survive without power and, connecting to, off-grid situations, just different things like backup generators for your own thing. And then, converting to a lot of other things that aren't just electric devices because I was on the ferry earlier today down in Mukilteo, and there's this device on the side of the wall that says sound powered telephone. You know, it's sound powered device. So if we can power these devices with the own sound that you're making to transport across the lines, and that's on the ferry boat, so it's, you know, definitely remote. There's no lines involved.
Well, you know,
So, you know, doing things like that and tapping into these technologies that have been suppressed is really going to be the key for us to be able to get through this. And underground lines, you know, in Germany, different places in Europe, they don't have problems with the outages the same, you know.
Harmony, you misunderstood.
You know, I get a kick out of that.
You misunderstood that. Harmony, you misunderstood that. What they meant by sound powered is it's powered by Puget Sound. So it's underneath the ferry. There is a turbine that powers the phones.
No, I looked it up, and it's actually like sound powered.
How is that possible?
Something we'll have to look up.
Right, look it up. It's really fascinating information.
well, you know, if you think about that technology, if they've already got that, then why are the so-called first world countries suffering from a power outage?
That's a great question.
You know, we've got 8 billion people on the planet all yakking about nothing. Why not put the power to use?
Because what would happen to the oil industry?
If you think about it, there's also other ways to power things. Like one thought I had years ago is like all the gyms across America, if we were to, you know, harness that energy that people are putting into these devices, we already have that technology where you can take a bicycle that's stationary and generate energy. So imagine if we were banking this energy. Like there's so many ways beyond just what we already know and what we're familiar with. So let's like think bigger, you know?
Well, again, it would kill the oil industry if they had power that didn't use oil anymore.
Oh. Okay,
Funny thing is, it really wouldn't do that much damage to it when you think about it.
Think so?
My mistake, Harmony, you're right. But it can't be used for what we have now.
A whole major conversion would have to take place. And it would almost be like the catalyst of that, right?
No, it doesn't convert enough pressure in order to run more than 2 stations. Like it can, but they're crapped once you get past 2. So you can communicate from that phone to the mainland on one line. But once they hook it up into the telephone grid.
But is it something they can work on and improve?
Well debatable.
Like
Monsters Inc.
It's using your own sound. So, like the more sound you put in, the more power you're pushing.
Ah!
Friend.
Huh. Okay.
Hey, it's pretty fascinating stuff.
But also, you guys got to think, a telephone takes almost 0 power. Like, it takes hardly anything to actually run. Friend.
Unless you're playing Candy Crush all the time, and then my power goes like that.
Well, you can use a 32 gig wire.
Old phones, you know, where if you had a landline phone, you could just, if the power was out, it would still work.
Like a
going through the
but a telephone.
phone. But now, like, try to find a landline company where you can get one.
We don't have,
An original telephone line had 32 gig wire in it.
Okay.
For at 32 gigs, or 32
megabyte.
No.
Kilobyte?
Gauge, 32 gauge wire.
Okay.
It will, if you try and put too much power through it, it's going to burn.
Yeah.
Friend, so it takes hardly any power to actually run just a regular phone. Like a rotary phone.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, honestly, let's admit, if the power grid fails in this world, friend, every first first Power Nation
Mm-hmm.
will have about 20% population within a month.
Well, especially with these temperatures.
Yes.
Most of them would die of starvation, Eric.
Yeah, they wouldn't have a can opener.
Friend, most-
People survived for
half of them don't-
thousands and thousands of years without power. There's
Yeah.
ways
Yeah,
to
that's
do
like
it.
going back.
Because they
People
were born
just
into
got
it.
to.
But
But you
yeah,
gotta
Joe,
remember-
they were born into
Going
it.
back to the roots.
How many today that are so? When's the last time you went to a store and they couldn't even count your change because, well, the cash register usually does it for them, and
Yeah.
they.
Well,
no.
see, that's the beautiful part. The people that are going to die off are the ones that, well, we don't need them around anyway.
Not really, because most kids can't do this crap.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the next generation, though. So,
My son.
Start a new one.
no. No.
It's up to you to repopulate the planet, Eric.
Hell no. Oh, fuck that.
Well, it's done.
Yeah, it's finished. And the thing is, so out of the population, how many of them haven't been without power for more than 24 hours? So how many of them don't have a manual can opener to open the food they've got in the pantry?
See,
How many of them
I
can use
only
a
have
manual?
manual.
I got one.
Right?
So
I've
do
got
we,
one.
but my son can't use it. He doesn't know how.
You might want to teach
I
him.
should teach
I
him.
tried. I tried. He's dumb.
Like
I
changing
can't
a
help
tire.
it. Friend, I just told him if we lose all power, you're dead. That's all there is to it. Goodbye. Friend, he couldn't figure it out. I did. Like I
You start
showed
gnawing
him.
on the can.
Yeah, I guess.
And this was a
That's
great.
I guess
Very
you can
soft.
actually like rub the can really hard on like the concrete like several times and it will break the seal. I saw this like life hack. I've never tried it. Don't live by me, but
I can see that creating a bit of another problem.
What's that?
Well, if it breaks the seal on the sidewalk, it ends up on the sidewalk, and you lose the food anyway.
Not really. That's when you start eating it off the sidewalk because we're back to the dark ages.
You know what?
yeah,
As
you don't
much-
want to break the seal on the sidewalk.
As much as much sand as I ate in Iraq, and as much dirt as I wound up eating in Somalia, and I'm still alive, a little bit of dirt in your food don't fucking matter.
Yeah, but when you were in Iraq, then they told you, hey, there's food in the barracks. You don't have to eat sand.
I didn't get better. We slept in kids.
That's where like survival of the fittest comes in. Like if you didn't remember to like wash the stone first, like maybe, or either that or like, you're not acclimating to the germs or whatever. It's kind of like you take a chance with life when you're
See,
faced with extreme challenges and difficulties and you try to do the best you can.
I was always told that every kid will eat a bushel of dirt before they die, just preferably not in one sitting.
Right.
But no, that was
Every kid does it at least once. Let's not lie.
that was a great
on.
question for tonight because yeah. And again, now if it's some dumbass shooting up our power grid, we can use generators. The thing is, how much gas do you have to power your generator?
We can use some generators.
Right. We need to figure out how to hook up our bicycles to the generator.
Yep.
Friend, depends on how the power grid explodes.
Mm-hmm.
Half the generators in the cities won't work.
I'm talking personal. Your house.
Yeah, and if you don't live where we do,
Mm-hmm.
but you live in a city where there is a large power transformer area,
Right.
it has a chance of actually killing your generator as well.
How?
Because when a transformer blows, it throws a certain amount of electricity in the air.
Oh, okay, I
That
got you.
electricity, if it's large enough,
Gotcha.
can blow a fuse.
So
Every fuse in
Oh.
the area.
okay.
Friend. So,
It'll
Like-
kill your generators too. Then.
yeah, like you got to think, all the ones at the hospitals are pretty much dead.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where it comes back to really knowing like how to survive without electricity.
Well, and that's what sucks because if you just happen to be getting a surgery or you were sick or whatever, you were in the hospital when this shit happens, you're screwed.
Well,
Recommendation: don't get sick and end up in the
Yeah,
hospital.
that's fate,
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't prep in the same way other people do. I do have 3 vehicle coils and 1 battery for a vehicle
Yep.
inside a rubber lined box.
Faraday cage.
I will drive. Fred.
You're prepared,
Well, no, we live too far out not to.
Yeah, no shit.
right?
Yeah, that's like my little brother. He's got the same idea. He lives up in the middle of nowhere. He is prepared for a problem.
Well, and we have a whole whack of dams around us,
Yeah.
and 3 of them are electrical generating.
Well, at least you won't have any lack of water if the dams burst.
That's true. Now I gotta buy a boat. Brad.
Or
And
if the
Nikki,
mountain decides to go.
If you hear a big
Yeah.
boom, prepare for guests, because we're probably gonna make it all the way to you.
We'll just hike. We'll just take the Pacific Crest Trail if we had to. It's 13 miles to Rainy Pass,
See,
and then Rainy Pass
I'm just-
all the way down.
That's a haul.
Good luck with
I'm
that.
just a firm believer if this world starts to turn upside down like that,
Oh,
you know,
you're
take
driving.
me out on the express lane. I don't want to deal with it.
There's no way I'd be able to walk that far.
No, I get that.
Brad.
You can walk
You
that
can always-
far. It just take you a month.
Yeah.
You can always just walk out into the woods and get adopted by a Sasquatch family. They know how to hang you. You know.
Either
They
that
don't
or
need
take off a
power.
Wolverine.
No.
Sasquatch will take care of you if you're in need.
Yeah.
If you respect the forest. Did you hear about that little boy that went and disappeared, and he said that the big hairy man took care of him for it was 3
Oh,
days
yeah,
in the wilderness?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd be curious about that because they know who you are.
See, that one I lived through.
Yes, they do.
I mean, I know I've got Bigfoot living, on the mountain in my woods behind the house. I know that for a fact. So it does make me wonder if shit really did hit the fan, and my family did need help, if Sasquatch would come out and help.
It is quite probable, assuming you're not packing guns. Because if they smell gunpowder, they won't come near you.
No, it doesn't matter, Kia. I do think they know your intention because I have had them knock at me when I had a gun. I was deer hunting.
Yes, but talking to you at a distance and coming up to your house are 2 very different things.
It totally depends on your intentions and your energy, because they're super sensitive
Yeah,
beings.
and that's why I disagree because I do think they know you're not there to hurt them, whether you have a gun or not. They know why you have a gun. They know it's not for them. So, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're a trigger happy person, anyway, that's just going to be your fate of how
Right.
it kind of goes down. But it's not the gun that they're afraid of. It's, the energies and the intentions that will keep them at bay or make them be aggressive and,
No,
fight or flight, right?
I was lucky. At about 4 years old, I literally had that happen. Where I got lost in the woods, and a little Bigfoot brought me to his parents, who subsequently brought me home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, more to the point, they brought me to the campsite the mom and dad were at.
Right, and that's the same thing as the 3 or 4 year old in North Carolina that it happened to here about 3 years ago. Same story. I guess my question too, if we were thrown back into the Dark Ages, do you think the aliens at that point would come down?
No.
No,
No.
No.
they didn't do it the last time. They're not about to do it this time. I mean, they would still keep coming down as they have been.
Right.
But would they make themselves fully known? Not a prayer.
Were they already here?
No. Yeah.
Well, actually, back then they made themselves more known than they do now. So, it's in all the civilizations. Oh, they came down. They taught everybody how to do things, and the sky peoples and all that.
Yeah, but at this point in time, they know we've already been there and done that. What are they going to teach us now? How to make fire? We already know how to make fire.
Do we?
Kind of.
Fire
us.
good.
Not all of us. Your son's.
Well, lots of folks forgot how to make fire, so,
And that really, your question is great because it brings us to next week's topic.
Do you not remember reunion?
What?
How much shit did we get given because we couldn't start a fire for 4 hours? Fran.
I plead the fifth.
I plead we need to fucking move to a place that doesn't rain so
Boy, that's
goddamn
true.
much.
That's true. Let's see. Who hasn't asked a question?
Plus, we could move down near Joe.
We'll move in with Joe.
Because the fires
Yeah.
start themselves there. Like,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't gotta make it. It's already, yeah.
we
Yeah.
just go grab some,
Bring some marshmallows.
right?
All right, so Nikki, Dan, Harmony. What's your question?
Yeah. So one of my questions was I was at a solstice event earlier today where we put some slips of paper into 3 different jars. One was representing the past, one was representing the present, and one was representing the future. And we put 3 different slips representing what we were grateful for. So I was reflecting on this also when thinking of my questions, and it made me think of, the story of Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge, and how he had the experience where, he was a disgruntled person, he was really greedy and just really lacked gratitude and community and all those important parts of that wholeness that people feel. And he had this experience where he connected with the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and the ghost of Christmas future, right? So what my question is, do you guys think those were actual aberrations? Do you think they were, did he actually see ghosts? Or were these coming from a place in his subconscious where he was, knowing that he needed to make some time to reflect and resolve some things that were not really resonating with, his path? What do you guys think on that? Do you think they were actual ghosts? Do you think they were, poltergeist energy from himself, or was it a vision? Did he go into dream state, or, was it aliens or something entirely different?
I suspect it was, quite frankly, a combination. Partially the guilt, because he knew what he'd been doing was wrong, and he'd known it for a long time. And, of course, during that guilt, he ended up calling forth the particular entities,
That was Charles Dickens.
different representations
Charles Dickens.
from people from his own past that
Go back to
actually emulated that kind of information.
I'm going to go back to Charles
Yeah.
Dickens. Charles Dickens wrote Scrooge. I didn't think it was originally called
Christmas
Scrooge.
Carol.
Christmas Carol, yeah. So,
I like the Bill Murray version, so Scrooge.
right.
Yeah.
And I thought they were making
That's
a new
right.
one this year. But look at Charles Dickens and look at his life and see if I'd be curious if A Christmas Carol was a projection of the author.
That would make sense in all fairness. And at that point, you come back to the same issue, though. Was he looking at his own guilt, or was he looking at an event that he witnessed regarding ghosts coming back to bother him and point this sort of thing out?
Or was he looking at it from the perspective of, Tiny Tim, or was he looking at it from the perspective of the actual old man in the story,
I would be
Are we
prone-
talking Dickens or Scrooge?
Dickens.
Oh, he was
Dickens,
drunk as
right?
fuck. He was drunk as hell.
I think,
That's all that
honestly,
was.
But
I
honestly, I,
think
would
Dickens just put on paper what everybody does.
say, right.
Everybody, at one point or another, you think about things from the past, and you think, oh, I should have done something different, or maybe I did the wrong thing there. But, some people, they can't get it out of their minds, things in the past. They keep going over and over and over things.
Right.
And then they think about, well, what's going on now? And then they think, oh, God, where am I going to be in the future? All these horrible things. No one's going to care. I think that happens to most people. Dickens just happened to put it down in book form.
Ultimately correct.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, looking at just having gone through my most recent little endeavor, the amount of time you spend looking backwards and going, I should have done this, I could have handled this better, I could have been prepared for this sort of thing. And, professional procrastination, I didn't.
So
You know,
ultimately,
the whole reality behind it is everybody gets to a certain point in their life at some point where they start looking backwards, going, "Where did I go wrong? That I created, that I ended up with this mess."
but
This is, of
ultimately,
course, you know.
ultimately, it'd be
It's self-reflection.
it'd be Dickens looking. It'd be a guilt on Dickens looking at his drunken life.
In all likelihood, yes.
Do you think like guilt and soul fragmentation from trauma can actually create like these entities that are coming forth? And so it's like one in the same, like they walk hand in hand.
Right.
They sort of walk hand in hand, except soul fragmentation doesn't happen quite the way most people think. But the guilt will absolutely play havoc with your current consciousness.
Okay, so what is your favorite tradition of Christmas? Look at holly and ivy. Look at the mistletoe.
I was totally going to ask that too.
The Christmas tree. What's your favorite symbolic tradition of Christmas?
The airing of grievances.
The airing of grievances? Okay.
Yeah. I like Festivus.
Anyone else? Well, y'all.
I think what I like the most about it is when you actually get a family, even one that's disconnected, really making the effort to reconnect.
Yeah, that's a great part of the holidays. I think one of my favorite traditions to do is building a big fire and releasing old energies through either, a pine cone, or if you have snow on the ground is my favorite, to make a snowball and then put intentions and energies of what you're trying to create, what you're trying to release into that snowball, and then putting it into the fire and then releasing that through there. It's like an extension onto the Yule fire.
Yeah, if you're going to start throwing snowballs into the fire, you better make sure the fire is big.
I kind of agree with Keith on this. It's all year long you deal with family or friends, and you think, God, what a bunch of ice holes, and you're sick of it. But that Christmas time rolls around, and even though you might be mad at Uncle Bob or your sister or something, or you kind of all get together, and at least for a little while, you try to make amends. Everyone does a shot of Jameson's, and we're good.
It seems to me that around this time of year, regardless of whether people believe in Christmas or celebrate Christmas, they all, worldwide, seem to try a little harder to be nice to each other, aside from when they're in the shopping malls.
Exactly.
Yes.
And from my standpoint, that really is where it is. It's the one time a year where I can actually tolerate leaving the house. But then it's too freaking cold up here to do that, so I don't bother.
Yeah. I hear you.
So me and my brother can go up to a year without talking, texting, or anything. Friend, but we have one rule. If we are together at Christmas, we buy each other a 40-ounce bottle of rye. And it is the only present we get to open early. We open it at 5 p.m. on Christmas Eve. And then we proceed to drink it, and about 2 o'clock Christmas morning, we finally go to bed, and our mom is usually pretty pissed off at us by that time because we've already went into her room about 6 times trying to wake them up to go open up presents. And we're adults now. Friend, we still do this.
And there were only 6.
Friend, and then the next morning we wake her up and proceed to make it up to her as much as we can with the presents we bought her. I think that is one of my favorites.
See, so if you were waking up your parents at 6 o'clock in the morning, this means you were drinking the 40s when you were about 7.
Friend, no, I think the first year we started that tradition, I was 14.
Oh, okay.
Friend, we've always had kind of a looser idea with alcohol. When you're with family, it's different. So at 14, we were able to start and help. The parents usually were pissed off about it. It was the uncles that started that tradition, and they each did it to each other's kids. So what can you say about it, friend? And but no, me and my brother have always been the first ones up, even as adults. I'm up before my kids. They don't wake me up Christmas morning.
I neither. I'm usually up about 3 hours before they get out of bed.
Right? Like, especially now that they're teenagers, they all sleep in, and I have to use the actual set of jingle bells from a sleigh to wake them up.
You got to get a foghorn.
Friend, I find when I hit them with the foghorn, it doesn't do as much when I hit them with the jingle bells.
It wakes the neighbors up. The neighbors all get up to open their presents because they hear your foghorn.
Friend,
They're waiting to hear those jingle bells.
they hear the kids screaming when I start hitting them with the jingle bells. So.
Right.
No, that also is a tradition in our family because my grandparents owned a farm, so Grandpa actually had a set of bells from his sleigh.
Ice water challenge. That doesn't always work, Robert.
And so Christmas morning every year, he would always be one of the first ones up, and he would run through the farmhouse and shake the bells as hard as he can to wake everyone up.
Cool.
Friend.
Yeah, the ice water challenge for me would have been a bad idea. They'd eventually spent more time at the hospital doing that.
Right?
Well, unfortunately for me, you hit me with ice water, my heart stops.
Ooh.
Bro, well, have you seen those new people, like, or those new things? People have been doing it for years, especially in, like, places like Norway and that area. But,
right.
like, they get into a bath of ice every day.
Yeah.
Like, every
I'm
morning.
just
That's
not
how
Yeah,
they
my
do it.
husband does cold plunges all the time in the river and ice baths. It's wild.
Have you had
Yeah,
it yet?
they've got, polar bear swims in the whole 9 yards, but the reality of it is, from my standpoint, I don't like cold water that much, unless I'm drinking it.
Yeah.
Well, what it is it kind of goes on the theory of like shock. It's kind of like when you go into sweat lodge. It's that kind of like the shock that changes your body at a cellular level to like make
And that
it more,
is precisely why I don't do it.
neuroplasticity and
That is precisely
often
why I
reduce
don't
your
do
immunity.
it, because that shock stops my heart.
Yeah.
Which is kind of counterproductive on the celebration thing, unless you're really happy about my dying again.
Oh gosh.
Friend,
So, Rick,
Yeah.
what was your favorite tradition?
Well, it started out with my mom, and then it sort of dovetailed as I got older to something else. It was decorating, and in the beginning, it was decorating the Christmas tree with my mom, and we did it every year, right after the Macy's Day Parade. As soon as Santa Claus would come into the Macy's, we'd start decorating a tree. All the stuff was out. But where it dovetailed off into a different direction was about the time I hit 14, 15 years old, my uncle, my dad's youngest brother, and a bit of a Christmas Day drinker, had made a comment that, Christmas lights were his thing, and nobody could ever beat him, when he, at any point. It was just funny because my dad said they didn't have any Christmas lights. It was the 40s, the early 50s. He didn't have any Christmas lights. They barely had electricity. So I said, okay, fine, next year, you and me. And so for about 15 years, it was every Christmas season, it was cold. Every time, it was Cold War. It was who could get by the most Christmas lights. And this is before all the light displays where they have all the things sync the music. And this was just old school. And I'm taking money out of
National
my
Lampoon.
own. Yes, exactly. And I'm taking money out of my own little measly paycheck that I'm getting for working part-time and I'm throwing that in because my mom eventually stopped giving me money to do it. She's like, we have enough lights. Our electric bill is going to be insane. And I'm like, don't care. I just kept plugging lights in and kept buying more and buying more and buying more. I'm on the top of a roof. It's raining. It's slick. And I'm still just trying to add more lights. So yes, that was my favorite thing to do. And then I eventually moved off and got married, and that ended that. And he even told me a couple of years before he died, he said that's the one thing that he missed more than anything was having our Christmas light competition. And at first he was just wanting to stick it to me, and then it became, and we always got along. He was a complete BS person. Every story he told was, somewhat, bigger than anybody else's story. But I'd grown to appreciate it. Even as a kid, I appreciated it. But yeah, even he was like, no, this was enjoyable. I really missed doing that. I felt happy. It made me a little, I miss Dad. Now that he's gone, it makes me a little sad thinking about it. But I don't have that anymore. So, but yeah, Christmas lights and all things. So yeah, decorating Christmas lights.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the hardest part about the holidays sometimes is we create these memories as children. And it wasn't us creating them. It was the people ahead of us. And then they leave, and it makes it hard sometimes. Friend, I know I have memories with every grandparent and aunt and uncle that a lot of them now, friend, just to think of them almost kills me during the holidays.
Yeah.
But you got to be happy with the time you're giving with people. Friend.
Exactly.
So, so Kayla's aunt has, since I came into the family, when I first came into the family, she asked me what my favorite types of things are, and I can't remember when, but at some point I told her that my grandma used to make these date squares that I just loved at Christmas time. And then every year she made them. She got the recipe from my mom, and she made the date squares every year. Friend.
That's so awesome.
So I was sitting there with our two sisters at our Christmas party this year, and I told them it's time. I have to start auditioning our children. I'm going to give them the recipe. They're each going to make one. Whoever gets the closest, it's their job from now on. That way, if they're younger than me, I get them every year till I die.
There you go.
Well, I will tell you this: if they're not younger than you, you've got a real screwed up idea of reproduction.
Yeah, because there's a few things like that different traditions that I want to try and carry on with the kids and stuff, and it's hard. It gets hard because as kids they don't always want to do it unless you start really young.
Yep.
And I was too dumb to think of this before they got old, before they became teenagers. So, but every once in a while, my grandpa, whenever you sat at a table with him, if you asked for a bun, he would whip it as hard as he could at your head. And you giggle like a little kid, and then you're giggling at the table, so all of a sudden you're in trouble from your parent. So, and then he'd giggle, and no one said shit about him giggling because he's their parent. So,
until they get put in the corner.
Yeah. About 10 years ago, I had 3 little cousins who were acting up with Grandpa at the dinner table. And my dad grabbed my grandpa by the scuff of his neck, and he put him in the corner. And me and Kenny, my brother, were both, we were 18, 19, 20, somewhere around there. And we're looking at each other and looking at the 3 boys, and we're all like, can he do that? Is that okay? That's his dad. And Grandpa sat there in the corner and just put on the biggest pout that he could. But he stayed there.
Well, what comes around comes around.
Yep. And we had no idea what to do, but not one of us screwed up for at least a week. Because if he could do that to his own dad, imagine what he could do to his kids and his nephews. We were screwed. Friend, so
Best damn story.
friend,
Oh my god, that would have been like the great uncles.
right? Like, family is hard a lot of the times of the year. You're right, Joe. But you get stories out of it.
Oh my god. That's awesome.
I could remember I was about 6 years old, and woke up Christmas morning. Me and my two older brothers, and go out there, and everything's all still wrapped up. But Santa always left one or two things out unwrapped with just your name and a bow on it. You can play with those until the parents woke up. So it's me and my two brothers and my Uncle Harry.
Okay.
What I got was, it was like this thing. It was like a great big Nerf gun, but this is back in the 70s, and it shot these really big, hard plastic darts. And he says, "Let me try that thing." He picks it up and he fires it at the Christmas tree, and it shatters this antique Christmas ornament that my mom had. It was like one of the most prized possessions she had. And he looks at that, and you can hear my parents' door open. They're coming down the hall. He takes the gun, he puts it in my hands. They walk into the room. My mom has got this look on her face. Uncle Harry points at me. He goes, "Look what he did." And it was like, at that moment I realized, God, adults are assholes.
But also, you know what it should make you realize? That is the coolest uncle in the world.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he actually was. So I took the heat for a while, but then one of my brothers ratted him out, and everybody had a good laugh.
Well, I bet your mom didn't.
Oh, no. I think she's still mad.
I like it. I'm finally at the age where I'm not only at the age, but also I'm 700 miles away from my parents now, so I can start telling them the shit I did when I was 16.
Right.
Without repercussions most of the time. So my mom was telling me the other day that Dad told her that she has to quit trying to peek at her Christmas presents. And so I finally told her, like, I didn't peek. But your blow dryer got a lot of use because that separates the glue off the tape real well. And she's like, "You little prick."
See, it was funny. I had the other problem. With 8 of us in the house.
Shit I used to do.
With 8 of us in the house, Dad used to tell everybody that, he only, in the 17 years I was at home, there was only half a dozen times that he and Mom ever snuck anything into the house I didn't know about. I'd never go looking under the tree. I just knew what was there. Because I had no idea how to block it out.
Friend, yeah, my parents, or my kids, are actually pretty damn smart, and I never thought about it until I was actually at the store. We asked them for their Christmas list this year, and I said, "Here's the deal. You guys are probably each going to get one big present for me and Mom. Friend, I want 3 or 4 really good ideas between $50 to $150. Somewhere around there." They each gave me one. So that way they know they're going to get that one. I'm like, "You dicks."
See, there's a way around that. They give you one, so you buy them a stuffy.
Yep. Well, it's all different stuff, so I'm just going to give it to the their brother or sister, so they get really upset about it. Friend, Friend.
And then they trade presents.
Probably.
They're all living on their own, are they not?
Oh, no. We've got 6 people in this house. And
okay.
Friend.
So you've got 6 people and an owner.
Yep.
Friend. Well, he owns the kids. So
Amen to that.
Apparently, if a cat sleeps above your head on the bed, he believes he owns you. If he sleeps near your chest, he believes he's equal with you, and if he sleeps near your feet, he believes you are his owner.
Boy, somebody missed the boat on telling the cats that we had that little note.
Well, I walked into my son's room.
Yeah, that's just what I was
I walked into my son's room, and his cat was spread-eagled over his face with his crotch right in his mouth. And I was like, I I think that's beyond owner. Like, that's master.
I saw that in the movie Alien.
Right? Except for this one was furry.
What about if you had a cat who would sit on a headboard watching you have sex? Or a dog.
That's called a voyeur.
Oh, God, that thing with the cat on the face. Jeez.
Yeah, it was
Oh, my
disturbing.
God.
For a kid's mouth was open.
Totally
And everything.
disturbing.
Can't have a word for that. But we won't go into that.
Yeah.
And Keith, what's your first question?
I'm going to go way back in time on this one.
Oh, hell.
Do you guys believe in Santa Claus? And if so, why?
Absolutely, I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so my son actually asked me that this year.
Did he?
Yeah, John did. He asked me why I believe in Santa Claus.
Wow.
And I looked at him and I said, you know what? John, you get some pretty expensive gifts every year, do you not? He said, yeah. I said, last year, you probably got about $400 to $500 in presents. He's like, yeah, I think so. I said, 2 weeks before Christmas, you broke a $600 TV in our house by throwing a battery at it by accident. He said, yeah, I did. I said, name another time of the year that I would still buy you gifts. He's like, huh. Yeah, I don't think there is one. I'm like, that's Santa. That's not me. Friend, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not that easy at forgiving. But this time of year, it doesn't matter.
You believe in the spirit of Christmas, not the little fat guy in a red suit. That's what it's all about. Like we said earlier, he's a symbol for people being good to each other, even if you don't want to be.
But without the symbol, we have nothing.
Well, we have the symbol, though.
Yeah, so I do believe in the
It's not
little man
going
in the
away.
red suit. With the little man in the red suit, I definitely believe in him because he's our symbol. Without him, Christmas is a religious holiday. That's it. Friend, all the rest of it, the presents, the tree, all that stuff, it doesn't exist without him.
The odd part there is even if you turned into a religious thing, the presents came by ironically enough, the presents on a Christian holiday were started by essentially what Christians would call pagans in the first place. However, like you, I'm a firm believer in the little guy with the with the red suit and the flying reindeer and the whole 9 yards. And no, sorry, shrinks have already said I'm perfectly sane. Actually, I'm really not sorry about that. I didn't want to spend time in the anyway.
I'm not insane. My mom had me tested.
Yeah, well, the problem there is insanity is hereditary. You get it from your kids. So the fact you weren't insane, well, that's because you passed it on.
No, I didn't pass it on. I don't have any kids. I'd like to have kids one day, but, just for that one day.
No, I was referring to you passed it on to your mom.
Joe, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell my brother all the time. You don't have kids that you know about.
That might be true.
Wow.
They just haven't found you yet.
Well, I can say that I don't know about my kids.
Well, yeah, it's kind of harder for you guys. Like, girls have, you shouldn't, if you don't remember that, that was way too easy.
I had a client years ago. I kid you not. Actually, I think it was only last year. I kid you not. She asked why she had stomach problems. I said, because you're pregnant. And I kid you not. This woman stops and she goes, but my husband wouldn't cheat on me.
Jesus.
I said, true. So who's the mother?
Excuse me.
I says, you want to run that by me again? She goes, who is the mother? I says, you're pregnant. Well, I understand that, but who's the mother? I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. They cannot get that old with that kind of question.
It's kind of like that lady, Bridget Nielsen, who says that she had her eggs removed, and she was they were in an alien abduction, and she has children that are living in outer space. So I mean, for all I know, they could have wiped my memory, and that could be a reality.
Pretty sure with her, it's a lot of cocaine in the 80s. And then probably
maybe she was hot back in the 80s.
Hey,
well,
first of all, let's not blame
she
her
was,
so much.
but
Yeah, it
Cocaine
was.
has feelings too. Okay?
Yeah, for all I know, there are alien ships all over the galaxy with my kids on them.
Right.
So, you start seeing a bunch of aliens that are really tall and hairy. There you go.
And think those are called Sasquatch.
They have the
They're not
most they have the most advanced technology in the world, but they're still using a pointy stick.
Yeah. Chewie's always been my favorite.
Yeah.
I already know that I've got kids on other planets and out in the galaxy, so yeah. I have no worries about that.
True.
As long as my kids are okay, that's all I give a shit about.
I know for a fact
Hey,
the four I have here are the only ones. They're the only ones, and because an alien is gonna come to our house, see what they're doing, and be like, "Yeah, no, we're not using him." There's a cat on that one's face. We're not touching that. Those are not
Totally
the leaders
right.
of the next generation.
God, there might be an entire planet out there of Joes.
And they all have pointy sticks.
Plenty sticks. They're all hiding in bunkers.
Right? On Mars, Venus, Uranus.
Ha!
Well, I've got
That's
one
true,
here
Joe.
that
You're screwed.
keep a eye on.
Like for Christmas and birthdays, you are screwed. Robert says postal service to other planet costs a lot.
That's for sure.
Well, they're the ones with the UFOs. They can come here and they can screw off.
Right?
I don't travel during the holidays.
See, I barely travel at all anymore. But no, the reason I was asking is I hear so many people that are looking at this completely backwards. It's like they're, and you watch the people, they're getting more and more miserable every year. I'm going, guys, you got to start believing in something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were so many different guys that were across the globe that were doing some sort of things for kids that the spirit of Christmas, the image of Santa Claus, I mean, that dates back to a few hundred years ago. I mean, hello.
I believe it was about 400 years ago is when, and, I probably have the year wrong, but about 400 years ago when, when St. Nicholas started the whole thing. And all he did was say, let's make the kids happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if you look
there
at
are stories that there was also mushroom shaman involved.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that story too.
The red mushrooms with the little white dots.
Yep.
Right.
That's
That's
Santa
why
Claus.
his cheeks were so rosy, and he always was like, oh.
Well, really, however you find a way to be nice to people, as long as it's genuinely being nice, what the heck?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is essentially the spirit of Christmas, really understanding how interconnected we are, and the gift giving, comes from sharing our wares that we have all harvested and collected. Each family had a different thing that they could trade and share, and in the darkest days of winter, in the time of when people would need it the most. So, that's when the mushroom shamans, when the St. Nicholases, when all the different old charitable, amazing gift-giving people, that's when they were doing it, in those darkest days of the year where it was colder, where you would, love to share your wool from your sheep or your bread that you'd made or whatever things that you canned. That's, the spirit of really where it all comes down from, and its essential, pagan, indigenous root.
And don't
Well,
forget
this
the
is why I'm going back next year, like for 23. I've already got a list I'm starting to put together. I'm just simply, as much as I can, making the gifts for this coming year. I don't care if people
That's
want
the
them
best
up front,
way.
because I don't make them.
Yeah, we
Man,
made little ornaments
just-
this year.
I
where
just
you-
pictured Keith up at the North Pole with the elves making gifts.
Well,
yeah.
I
Well,
don't
you
mind
can do
making
that.
gifts.
My husband worked at the North Pole when he was young. He worked in North Pole, Alaska. There's a whole setup, and you can be an elf. Go be with the misfits out there,
Well, you know why they call it Nome, Alaska in the first place, eh?
The gnome.
And North Pole, Alaska is where Santa's village is.
So I have a buddy that actually lives 15 minutes from Santa Claus's house in Nome, Alaska.
You guys do realize every northern country has one of those, right?
What? Santa Claus's house?
Yeah,
He's in Alaska.
sure
Where
is.
Santa Claus lives. And ironically enough, his last name is Slaughter.
Friend, no, seriously, like Canada has one. Friend, Russia does.
Uh-huh.
Friend, they all have Christmas Village.
Yeah.
We've got Leavenworth.
Russia has one that actually has not just Santa's house, but there's the Christmas witch is home is there as well.
That's not Belsnickel.
No, Lufwinda?
Yeah. Lucinda.
Sure.
Hey, yeah.
I can go with any name you want to use, because I keep forgetting my own, so.
Right? Friend, I'm looking for. I saw something the other day, and I thought I should have saved it.
What?
I guess I didn't.
What are you looking for?
Friend, one of my questions.
Oh. Well, let's go back to Joe. Joe, what's question number 2?
Let me see. This is not very Christmassy, but the moon. Everyone looks up. Everyone sees it.
Yep.
Everyone has all kinds of ideas about it. There are a million theories. There's a million conspiracy theories. What is your favorite thing right now about the moon? I mean, I've bounced around over the years, but I mean, the fact that it shouldn't be there. Some people said it's man-made. Some people said it was brought in. Some people said it's natural. People say there's people living on it. There's 1,000 things about the moon and 1,000 different stories. My favorite right now is the fact that all the craters on the moon, they're all about the same depth. It doesn't really make sense unless it's a great big hard thing with just a little thin outer layer, and when the meteorites hit, they just kind of bounce off. They make the craters can be really big, but they're not deep. It's almost like they can't penetrate, like they're hitting the outside of a ship or something. There's something weird going on. You look at craters on Earth, you look at craters on Mars, the big ones are deep, the small ones are shallow. On the moon, they're all just about the same depth. And I don't know why.
You know, I don't know what to think, honestly. What has always baffled me is how they talk about it being hollow. And they kind of proved that when they dropped, and I can't remember what they dropped, the Apollo?
I think it was Apollo 12, I think they dropped the lunar lander back onto
Yeah,
the surface.
and it rang like a bell. I
Yeah,
always thought that
for
was
hours.
interesting. So, yeah, is it hollow? I would have to go with probably, but was it placed there? It's interesting how it balances the Earth. We know it pulls on the tides. It's got an energy field that affects the Earth.
Yep.
So, is it an artificial satellite? Possibly. And it's definitely not made of Velveeta.
No, Velveeta's the wrong color anyway.
Right? Or
Yeah,
Swiss.
no kidding.
Don't you dare call Velveeta cheese.
What?
It's Worcester.
Oh, I called it the wrong color because supposedly the moon is made out of green cheese. And Velveeta isn't green, at least not in my eyes.
Well,
Unless you
leave
leave
it
it
out
around
of
for
the
a
fridge
while.
long enough.
Well, yeah, but damn near anything is green if you leave it out of the fridge long enough.
Uh-huh.
I mean, even pepperoni will turn that color.
Ooh. Don't ever eat the green pepperoni. Oh,
No,
God.
definitely not.
Yeah.
I would say, for me, like what you said about the hollow theory, that was something that was very pertinent in kind of my awakening process, was understanding that there was a lot more to the story going on than what we knew.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still very connected, like, as a human on the earth, to the cycles of the earth, and I'm very fascinated, regardless of what it is made of or how it got there, which are, you know, we could talk hours about all that because it's so fascinating to me. But the main thing for me is, like, the effect that it's actually having on me and other people as a, you know, satellite device or whatever, you know, whatever it actually is, whether it's made of metal or stone or, you know, gases or whatever interdimensional views you can have. How is it affecting you on a day-to-day basis, or, as I say, on a moon-to-moon basis? Because on a full moon, people in general, if you can ask hospitals, you can ask the police force, people act differently than they do on a new moon. And that supposedly has to do with the water inside of our bodies and the pull that the moon has on the water.
Right.
And so that really fascinates me, being, you know, connected with water, being Aquarius, and just being fascinated with water in general. Just the effect that it has. I noticed there is an effect on me. Just if I drink a lot of water, I don't seem to have as much of effect. If I'm super dehydrated, I get really tired and even moody. And, you know, that's where the word lunatic comes from, is Luna, the moon, and the full moon, you know, like a vampire, werewolves they have effect on that monster in each individual, whether, you know, you're an actual cryptid or not. You know, it's very fascinating, you know, the effect that the moon has on people, the effect, the stories in the moon itself, you know, and then the part that, you know, in the ancient indigenous stories, there's a time before the moon.
Yeah.
So that part is really fascinating to me.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Keith?
I'm just glad we're going back to it again. So that makes me very happy. Because
I want to clear something up.
hopefully this time, I'm hoping this time this will dispel any of the whole conspiracy theories. And I like a good conspiracy theory. When it comes to the moon landing, I gotta believe we were there, and maybe it's like all the different reasons why it could, if it's fake. I saw what was the movie back in the 70s, Capricorn 1.
Oh,
and,
God,
and of course, and of course that was fake. They faked the moon landing, and not Francis Ford Coppola, Stanley Kubrick directed it, the whole thing. And I'd have to believe in this day and age with so many people looking over every single frame of video, and everything's being shot on modern technology. So I'd have to think that they'd smell a con coming from my life, because our government is a lot of things, but I just do not think when it comes to something, I don't think they could pull off that kind of fraud because I just don't think they'd invest the money in the guys at Marvel, the ones that de-aged all the guys for all the Marvel movies, or for Harrison Ford and the new Indiana Jones. I can't believe that they're going to spend money on that kind of technology. When I could be wrong. Now, they'll spend it to go to the moon, but I don't think they would spend it to actually hire the people that would be capable of actually just putting together, because they hire dumb people. They would hire scientists or the actual people that are qualified to do it. They'd hire some chucklehead that, well, it says here you worked in the movie industry for the last 25 years. Didn't say what they did in the movie industry, but I got to feel the vetting process is even worse than it is with the space program. So
I think so. To expound on that, the only reason they would ever want to hoax it was because if you look at that time era, we were in a space race with Russia.
And we were losing.
We were losing, absolutely. And so they would want to fake it. They would want to fake it because they want to show Russia, look, we were already there. We beat you.
But Russia has spies in our government.
But do I think it's fake? I don't. I do think we were on the moon. I think that there's no... yeah. I looked at that for many years because the big... I guess facts that they tried to present that it was fake was, one, the color of the dust looked like the deserts of Arizona.
Right.
Well, that part of it is not entirely surprising when you think about it.
No. But the other one was you could see a reflection of a studio in Neil Armstrong's helmet, I think it was, which that's debatable, and that could have been photoshopped because that was a more recent time. And the other was the fact that the flag was waving. But, all that aside, I do still think we actually landed on the moon.
Well, here's the added bonus to the thing. I gave up on what the scientists said and figured I'd just go with the fact I was there. But there is something that they're not telling you. And
right. I also heard... Oh, go ahead.
The thing they're not telling you is that there is a very thin atmosphere on the moon. And when I talk about thin,
right,
I mean it's only like a quarter inch deep right now, which will account for the change in the color of the moon dust.
That would make sense.
And it would make the flag wave as well.
Yeah.
Yes, because you still have the atmosphere leaving very up.
The idea of what Joe said, they're not all the same depth, Joe. Not exactly.
Pretty much.
No, but not exactly. But the reason being that they do look like it and do have a closer depth than Earth is gravity. That's the only answers that scientists have been able to come up with, and it's a proven answer. Like they were able to prove it.
Well, look at Meteor Crater in Arizona. That thing's deep.
Oh yeah,
it's very deep. On the moon, you don't get that.
We have a stronger gravity field.
No, it's the fact of the gravity plus the Earth's spin.
Right.
Friend, when a crater hits us, it goes through our atmosphere for quite a while before it actually hits. It doesn't hit dead on.
So you'd think we would have shallower ones.
No, because they speed up
right?
As they come through Earth. No. It makes them speed up. It doesn't make them slow down.
So you think because the moon's tidal locked on the Earth, the tidal lock phenomenon, that's why they're shallower?
Friend, because they're going with the spin of the Earth 90% of the time, they do speed up. The ones that slow down are the smaller ones that go against Earth's spin. When they
right, and because the moon doesn't spin?
Well,
the moon spins, but it spins at the exact same rate that it travels around. Yeah.
Right.
It's weird. That's another weird thing. The tidal lock, and it always pointing the same face. And the size of the moon.
But the
Look at all the other planets. There are several hundred moons in our solar system. None of them are as big as our moon. And we got one of the small planets. Does that make sense?
In this case,
How about
it does.
how about solar eclipses? The moon
Yeah,
is
that's
sitting
a
right there,
fascinating
exactly the same
Exact
size as the
alignment.
sun. Come on.
Exact alignment.
Well, you know, if you look at it, technically it was put there. But
Well,
it was put there by like natural. And the thing is, when the moon came into orbit around the Earth in the first place, it was smaller than what it is now.
maybe
It
further
has
away.
actually been growing. Can I give you exact sizes? No.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that the whole purpose of the thing was a balancing act
And that makes sense.
in order
Right,
to
that's
stabilize the planet.
Friend,
And if the planet hadn't stabilized, there wouldn't be any life here.
Exactly.
with
They
what you
needed
guys-
that cycle to make things work.
with what you guys were talking about with the moon ringing like a bell, Joe.
Yeah.
So on November 20th, 1969, Apollo 12 deliberately crashed the ascent stage of its lunar module onto the moon's
Right.
surface. NASA
I was
reported
right.
that the moon rang like a bell for almost an hour, though. It was only almost an hour. But
Well.
when they say that, they don't mean it created sound. They put
In space, no one can hear you scream.
right? They put
Remember that.
seismometers. They put seismometers in all the areas that they landed during that time,
So it'll be a vibration.
and they recorded moonquakes,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
the moon has quite a few of, apparently.
Well, the moon is growing.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
You get to figure that one out in about 1,000 years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, then I'm not worried.
Nope. No, I won't come back. Note to
See,
self,
I'll be
do
here.
not come back.
I'll be here until the planet dies.
You know, the other thing that's always
Yeah,
intrigued
same
me
here.
is the fact that, when Neil Armstrong was talking back to NASA space station or space command, whatever, and they cut him off because he said we're being watched, and I can see
From the rim of the crater.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the moon's occupied.
Oh, absolutely, and they cut him
Yeah,
off real
has
quick
been for a
because
while.
they didn't want the public to hear what he was talking
Oh, heck,
about.
the moon's been occupied longer than man's been here.
Thank
By who?
you.
Well, I can't give you the guy's name. They aren't all there anymore. But we
I
are
think
talking about...
Specific races, isn't it, Keith?
It was Steve.
I can tell you one race,
Steve.
but I have to look up the name again. Actually, we've got skeletons of them here on Earth.
The Bubble Bunch.
That's
Oh,
what
I
I
took one of
was
the
thinking.
jokes.
It was the
I
Zohan.
just have to look at duels.
The Zohan.
Was it the Zohans? The Bubble Bunch.
Zoltan.
Zotan.
Zoltan.
Yeah.
There we are. Yeah, the Zerons.
Fuck, we were
The
close.
Zerons, they're a dual brain race. They are at current present. There might be a few of them floating around somewhere, but the civilization itself collapsed.
Wait, they just float around?
No, there might be a few stragglers that are still breathing.
Ah, okay.
But the Zeron race died out centuries, well, quite frankly, millennia back. But they were here, they were situated on the moon a long time ago.
Aren't they the ones that they ended up destroying themselves? Or am I thinking of a different race?
Oh, no, there's been a number of races that did that. But no, in
Yeah,
their
there's
case,
quite a few.
technically they destroyed themselves, yes. What it boils down to is they overextended. They overextended and ended up in a rather massive annoyance between them. But because they were having problems, they bred themselves into non-existence.
So like the Royals.
Try that again?
So if the moon is hollow, who lives inside it?
Steve.
The Galactic Consortium is actually set up inside it with a way station.
Yeah.
Mind
Like a
you,
ro-
on the dark
Which is
side
weird
of the
because
moon,
I have.
Like a rest stop to Earth.
essentially it's not a rest stop to Earth. It is a check-in point if you're coming here, but it's a way station on the way through the solar system.
That's
Well,
where they,
does
that's where they stop
because
before
I
Will
remember
Smith tracks them.
last year. I remember last year, or the year before, where I was transferred from ship onto the moon and then transferred from there to Mobius. And
Well, that would make sense.
that's all I remember. I do not remember why I was transferred to Mobius, but I was there for whatever reason, as an ambassador. And I was like, what? And that's the last thing I remember.
Well, something you got to realize about Mobius. Mobius was colonized by Earthlings.
Mm.
About 40,000 years ago, Earthlings had world peace with just over 10 billion people on the planet. World peace, no hunger, no jealousy. Okay, and they ended up colonizing Mobius. And they still have that civilization on their end. Sorry, about 50,000 years ago, they colonized Mobius. And about 40,000 years ago, the Lemurian Empire collapsed in on itself.
Mm.
And that was quite by accident.
Well, I thought Lemurian was attacked.
Was it which?
Was attacked.
No.
Am I wrong on that?
Oh, I don't know what you heard. In a period of about 8 months, we went from 10 billion to about 10,000.
Didn't
No,
some
but
of
the
them get
Mobians
off the
were
planet?
already.
And
Try that again?
didn't some of them manage to get off the planet?
Hence Mobius.
Be
But they
transferred
went about
elsewhere?
10,000 years earlier.
Oh.
Got it. Okay.
But as for a war, no, the Lemurian Empire didn't have war. But I'll
they
tell
were
you,
a peaceful race, right?
Try that again.
They're a peaceful
Weren't
race.
they a peaceful race?
Absolutely 100% peaceful. There was no war, there was no famine, there was no jealousy. Okay, there was envy, but that boiled down to, gee, you're doing that really well, can you show me how? And that was all there was to it. This is why I tell people that we can actually have peace on Earth. Okay, that is very much a possibility. It's been done before. But we've got to start looking at the similarities. You know, and I mean, when you take a look at it, you know, if we look at Santa and the symbol that brings about, everybody, I mean, look at World War I on Christmas Day. Okay, that was not something that just happened, you know, that was planned. Because nobody gave the order to stop shooting. What I've never figured out is why on Boxing Day they went back at it.
Right.
You know,
because the war wasn't done.
Well, yeah, I mean, on Christmas Day, the Axis and the Allies put down the guns without anybody saying quit shooting.
And saying Silent Night.
Crossed Dead Man's Land, or, you know, No Man's Land, and exchanged gifts.
Yeah.
Then went home and the next morning opened fire. I mean, really?
Well, no, they
People
didn't go
wondered
home.
why I looked at humans going, really?
That's the thing. They didn't go home.
No.
They went back to their freaking bunk.
No, they went back across to the front lines and opened fire on the people they just had dinner with.
Well, yeah.
Now, it sounds like the Hatfields and McCoys.
Because if they didn't, they were gonna be shot.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand why on that side. I just didn't understand why.
Keith,
Yeah.
they weren't gonna be shot by the enemy.
No, they were going to be shot by the Friends.
Yeah, because if you didn't do
Commanders.
your job, you were useless.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't gonna pay to send you
Expendable.
home.
Mm-hmm.
So when they yelled the order to charge across those front lines, for anyone who didn't, they executed.
You're a traitor.
We have
Right.
many stories across the British lines that they did that straight up. Friend, one man refused to go, so he was executed. Friend, the problem is when you have someone in charge and they believe they're in charge.
Well, they gotta execute him because the rest of them are going to do the same damn thing.
Yeah.
Prove a point.
Right.
Friend.
Yep. You have
honestly,
to make a
on that
example out of
Christmas-
them.
Yeah, and on that
If
Christmas
Eric's
Day,
not going, I'm not going.
Oh,
But on that Christmas day,
Eric's not going.
It's like that
It
movie
started-
Ant.
Eric's home now.
it started with two guys going across, one from each side.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the commanders were just too in shock that two guys were that dumb to walk across no man's land
Hey,
that
look.
they didn't give an order.
It's Private Gump.
Friend,
But I mean, I look at it going, it is possible to get along. We just have to start focusing on it.
oh, absolutely. Friend,
And get rid of politics and religion.
yeah, that's
And get rid of it.
Huh?
And get
Yeah, I
rid of
think
it.
it's a matter of realizing, the divide and conquer tactics are a device that is like the puppeteer is using to distract us from what's really going on, And it kind of leads into one of the questions I was going to ask about, intentional obsolescence and how, we go back to when the light bulbs were made. There's a light bulb out there that's still burning in a firehouse that was
The
made
original one that was
over
made.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
And the companies got together all over the world and said, look, let's just keep this patent under wraps. Let's make sure that we have actually lower light bulbs. They went even down in their life from this meeting. And they decided that they were going to make things go obsolete, so you'd have to buy more.
And agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it happened, with the engine, like the first original Ford engine still running, and it, all the parts. So, so many different things that, phones nowadays, they're basically getting you hyped on buying the next new one when you just bought the new thing that you just have, and then every time you upload your, or update your phone, your device, then it becomes slower, and then you need the newer device. So what do you guys think about, intentional obsolescence and how,
Oh, it's absolutely a real thing.
understanding this and coming to this understanding is going to help us kind of come together
It comes
and understand that there's
it
more
comes down to
unity
greed.
possible. Right.
Comes down to greed, absolutely. But that planned obsolescence you're talking about there is the same thing about the planned lowering of the IQ.
Right.
Schools
Absolutely.
are not teaching kids how to think anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, they're absolutely teaching them how not to.
Well, and
Right.
that's why, honestly, I think critical thinking should be taught in every school in America. Across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Then what
At
should
least
be
by
sorry,
every
you
parent.
pulled off the what should be taught.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't help.
It comes down to dumbing down, because dumbing down people can be led.
Yep.
Yeah, but it definitely holds you accountable
that
when your kids are,
Oh, my,
Or,
my kids won't be dumbed down, for one.
yeah,
Neither will-
when your
neither will
kids are
boys.
not dumbed down, it holds you accountable because they won't let you get away with anything.
Yeah.
Well, that
This
brings
is
up
why
my
the
second
important-
question. Go ahead.
This is why it boils down to if you're going to tell somebody something, be honest about it. It's easier to
Exactly.
repeat yourself than it is to try and remember what you lied about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We see that daily.
I actually
My
constantly-
parents used to say very simply, we may not like what you did, but if you lie to us and we find out you lied to us, the punishment's going to be infinitely worse.
Yep.
Yes. That's what I tell my kids.
Friend, my dad used to say, I don't have to like what you're doing, but I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing, Joe. The pointy sticks will endure because bullets run out. Pointy sticks don't.
Exactly. You don't have to reload a pointy stick.
No,
Yeah, pointy
well,
sticks
and that's
don't
what
wear
kills
out
me.
in clubs, though.
You know, that's what kills me. Oh, we got to stockpile our guns. We got to stockpile our guns. Okay, you got to stockpile bullets too? And then what happens when you run out of bullets? You going to throw your guns?
Right.
No, I'm going to reload. Well, you can only reload so long.
That's why it's a bayonet too.
Well, that's why it's so hard to get any ammunition.
Yeah.
I want a pistol that has a bayonet on it.
They made those.
Well, hey, I hate to tell you this,
I've got a
but
bayonet.
Cole, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is this funny thing you can buy down in pretty much any hardware store. Kind of a silver thing. They call it duct tape.
Yeah,
You
but
can
no,
duct tape a
look,
pointy stick at the end of your gun.
I would like
You
one
get a
that's
duct
designed
tape
to
bayonet
be.
on the end of your
I
handgun.
Those
would
are those
like one
cheap
that's designed to be
knockoffs.
there. Friend,
Marionette.
friend,
That's why it's really smart to know how
Or
to use primitive
bayonet.
weapons.
That's
Blow
the thing, you know,
guns.
through all of human mankind, going all the way back to the guys wearing furs living in caves, they had pointy sticks.
Yep.
The guys with the best pointy sticks, the ones that worked, they were able to feed their family and breed, and they could make more pointy sticks and more kids. And the ones that couldn't figure
Yeah.
that out, and look at warfare for the last
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of years. You see the old movies, you know, the Troy and all that. They all had pointy sticks. Well, everybody did.
but that was just a screw up in evolution, Joe. Do you know why the caveman was able to defeat the T-Rex? Because when the caveman dropped the pointy stick, the T-Rex couldn't pick it up. Tiny little arms, man. Tiny little arms.
Yeah.
He was screwed
T-Rex
from the
with
beginning.
short arms. That's designed obsolescence.
Oh, you know what? And then you got, you know, the flying pointy sticks. Arrows.
Yes, arrows. Exactly.
Right?
That's a pointy
Those,
stick.
those are flying pointy sticks.
Exactly.
You
Well,
know,
to be truth be told, my people can vouch. Yeah, they don't always work that way. Like it doesn't work out. Friend, you bring a pointy stick, they bring a blanket. Okay, friend.
yeah, true. Biological warfare. Yeah.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
No, that's viral. That's
What if
unidentified
the aliens?
viral phenomenon.
People keep saying, "Oh, the aliens could wipe us out in a second if they wanted to," and I know Keith has said that too a million times. But what if the best weapon that the aliens have, because they're all kumbaya and one mind and all that, that they got rid of all the weapons a long time ago, and the best thing they have is a board with a nail in the end of it.
Oh.
Oh, good
Those are-
grief.
Board with a nail.
Maybe they're not showing up because they know until we get rid of all their weapons.
No,
They
because
can
you
kick our-
always have
Well,
that
if they're-
one Gomer pile of an alien that says, "I can do it. We got this."
Cobra Power.
You gotta
Oh,
remember,
God.
with the ships they've got, let's say they only have a board with a nail in it. A board with a nail in it, traveling at Mach 7, is going to make a mess of whoever it hits.
That's still good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
Oh,
it's kind of like Sasquatch, it goes back to the intention. It goes back to, the weapons can be there, but it's the intention of the consciousness of the humans or entities using
Right.
these technologies that
But
is keeping them from doing it because of our fight or flight consciousness.
It's just no fair.
What people
because
don't realize,
Bigfoot throws a tree. He doesn't throw a pointy stick. He throws a whole damn tree.
A tree is a pointy stick. It's just a really big one.
No.
see, the sad reality of it is this. Any war is fought between the eyes, as in, you look at the person you're up against, they look back at you. That's where the fight takes place. And if you're thinking in the right mindset, that fight never ends in a swing.
So you aim for the eye with your pointy stick.
No.
No.
No, when I was growing up, I literally had a couple of kids come up to me in the ballpark, and they literally looked at me and went, "We're going to beat you up because we don't like the way you look." So I went, "Oh," and I turned my back on them and walked off. They never swung
Right.
because it boiled down to I don't have time. In my head, I'm going, I don't have time for this, so I'm leaving. They didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, it takes two to tango.
It does.
It does. You
Yeah,
can't have
exactly.
a fight.
Exactly. I would have looked at him and said, "Let's dance."
Going
And they poke their eyes
outside.
out. If they don't have eyes to see you, then they can't see you, and they can't not like the way you look. Because, well, problem solved.
Isn't it amazing how people's thumbs are just the perfect size for gouging out an eye?
Exactly. And it doesn't take a whole lot of pressure. I got in trouble for that whole
but
class.
Or
it's
Red Ryder
gushy.
BB guns.
It is gushy, but the ancient Greeks used
Or
to.
tried.
Haven't you ever sat down and eaten grapes? They're kind of gushy too, but
Yeah, but you're not sticking your thumbs in them.
No, you know, and that's
Pull
what
out a
got
plum?
me. That's what got me in trouble in the army. I wasn't supposed to teach my soldiers how to kill. And
how to do which?
huh? I
You
actually
weren't
got.
supposed to teach your soldiers which?
So I was teaching my soldiers SEER, which is survival, evasion, resistance, escape, and my commander and first sergeant came in and observed for a while, and they pulled me aside and said, "Why are you teaching your soldiers how to kill?" Like, well, that's kind of the purpose of the army. But you're mechanics. They're like, yeah, but we're infantry first, mechanics second. So all soldiers need to know how to kill, because what if we're outside the base and we get ambushed? We have to know how to kill. And, well, yeah, because I was teaching them pressure points, how many pounds it takes to break the neck. You know, the kind of shit you don't really learn in normal everyday, but...
Eyes, crotch, throat.
Side of the knee.
So, you know, and that's kind of what got me in trouble, too, because I told my commander one day, a different commander, you know, it only takes 8 pounds to break the human neck. And he's like, Coop. How many tours have you done? And I'm like, 4. Yeah, I think you need to retire. I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. But, yeah, you know, you run out of
Realize
bullets.
why, right?
You know how you run out of bullets, so why stockpile that kind of shit? Know how to fight.
Yellow, number 2 pencils.
Exactly.
It's a small pointy stick, but you can kill someone 12 different ways with it.
Yep.
Hey,
You
they
lost
just
count
had
early,
an
didn't you?
attack in Seattle where I used. They had an attack in Seattle where I used in a specific neighborhood that I used to live in, and somebody was here tonight reading me an article about these 2 women who attacked somebody, carjacked, and they used a ballpoint pen and repeatedly stabbed the person. So yeah,
Yeah, I heard about that.
I mean, a pen is a weapon. So
A pen is a
hello.
pointy stick.
Exactly.
Actually,
That-
I now own a feather
Unfortunately,
that is a weapon.
it was used in this
I
kind of
really
method.
hate to be a party pooper, but this close to Christmas, why are we talking about how many different ways we can kill people?
Oh, because
No, I got this.
Okay.
It's
Human
for,
nature.
It's for those family Christmases where
you just can't get along with Uncle Bob.
wishful thinking sometimes.
Right.
No.
No. You got to do positive thinking.
If you guys are
Even in
at
family,
a family, if you guys are at a family Christmas and 2 people start arguing, all you have to do to diffuse the situation is start singing a tune. Because every time you start
Ultimately, yeah.
singing, every time you
I
start
love
singing,
you.
you
love me.
all you gotta sing is Happy
Brilliant.
Holidays.
Happy
If you sing Happy Holidays, you just need to sing those 2 words. And immediately everyone laughs. Friend, this happened to our
No.
family last year.
Oh yeah.
You know, and this is the thing. What we had, this is what I was referring to, and don't get me wrong, I've always had the greatest respect for the people that are willing to enter the military to protect their families, to protect their community. But I am still a firm believer that fighting and conflict must be a survival thing, a last resort type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things that we've got to get back to the idea of talking through what's going on instead of running over it.
Oh no, absolutely. But I'm not going to put my pointy stick down if I see the guy coming onto my property that intends to harm my family, also has a pointy stick.
Oh, I wasn't
Exactly.
suggesting that you do that. Like I said, am I a pacifist? Absolutely. Am I retarded? No. And I know that's a bad word for people, but I got over it.
Right.
I'd apologize, but then I'd have to lie.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, if you're defending
Keith,
your
I've got an
property, or if you
oddball
feel
question.
you have to, absolutely do what you have to.
Right.
Okay. There's no question there at all. But we've got to get our mindset back to the idea of sorting things out and learning 3 basic laws and simply standing by them. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy
Right.
out, energy in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at
As
all
above, so below.
all the rules that people follow, quite frankly, I do believe you'll find they all fit into those 3. Now,
That's
somebody
all well
finds
and
something
good, but
doesn't
have
really
you
know.
seen the internet? Have you seen the people that talk to each other on there?
Oh,
My God.
no, Joe. Have you seen Twitter? Twitter's even worse.
No.
Oh, Twitter is the Antichrist. I'm
Oh,
convinced
God.
he is actually Twitter.
I checked that once
I don't
a month.
tweet and I don't twerk.
No?
Well, I check it once a day now. It's my
Lovely.
main form of entertainment.
Yeah.
But even Facebook, like, I just saw a post that said, I'm bored. I think I'll go to the mall, find a great parking spot, and sit in my car with the reverse lights on. Like, come on, guys.
Something like that isn't going to hurt anybody. It might slow a couple of them down.
No, they might get their ass whooped for not moving after someone sat and waited for their spot for an hour.
Now, Paula says on here, the elf on the shelf is sketchy to me. Paula, that's because snitches get stitches.
Yep.
Friend.
And Robert.
And that little shit is only in your house to tell on you.
No, but Robert doesn't know birds ain't real.
That's true.
Birds aren't real. Those are actually drone videos you have, because those are actually bird drones.
Friend, so we
Bird
got
drones.
3 minutes
Actually,
left.
the birds are all that's left of the dinosaurs.
No, you didn't know birds ain't real.
We've got
They're
3
just little
minutes left.
dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Friend,
according to a group, yeah,
Mhm.
those aren't real, but a bunch of
Friend.
yeah. Anyway,
It's like the Starbelly Sneetches.
I do agree with Keith. We
And
did
just
get a
remember-
little bit off topic. It is Christmas time. It's a time of forgiveness. Friend, a time where we honestly should all get along. Friend, to all of our listeners out there, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate it with joy.
Mm-hmm.
Friend,
Absolutely.
And do not hit Uncle Bob.
I don't.
okay, sometimes Uncle Bob deserves it.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's kind of a prick. But
And just
I was
remember
gonna
that a
say, Uncle
Christmas
Bob,
tree.
you're-
Just remember that a Christmas tree is a pointy stick that hasn't been worked on yet.
that's right.
Yes.
With a little shiny ball.
Nikki, Keith, Joe, Rick, Harmony, and to the one who never made it tonight, or Arnold. And Merry Christmas to you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining
Merry
us tonight.
Christmas.
And Merry
Merry
Christmas
Christmas
to you
to
and
all
all
of you.
and everyone there.
Thanks for having us. Happy solstice, everyone.
Happy solstice.
Absolutely.
Happy solstice.
Happy solstice.
I do want to finish with, I saw something great today, because we've had a lot of arguments in this world the last couple of years about the words Merry Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Friend, and I saw the best explanation of how to do that ever. And it's the fact that I will always say Merry Christmas to you. I'm a Catholic. That is what I believe. That is what I celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say it to you, I am saying it to you with all the love in the world.
Right?
You say whatever
Yeah.
you believe to me. If you celebrate Yule, you say Happy Yule.
Right?
Or whatever you believe in, you say your thing. And you say it with
Absolutely.
all the joy in the world that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Friend,
Yes.
that is all we have to do. that act alone
There's no
can
fight.
solve a lot of problems in this world.
Yeah. There shouldn't be a fight over which one was first and which one's the most important. It's a holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Regardless.
Yeah, it comes down to intentions. You know, we're all speaking different languages, but we can tell what each other are meaning deep down with our emotions and our soul.
Like the big fight started over the Starbucks cups. Let's just all agree their coffee sucks and they're overpriced. Come on.
And I couldn't believe that shit because I was sitting in Iraq watching CNN over America fighting over Starbucks cups. Going, really? Why the hell am I not Iraq? Come on.
Yeah, you should have been on the front lines here. It was bad. No.
No shit. I heard.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And to all a good night.
Have a good one, guys.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.
Son of a biscuit eater.